Welcome back to Unsolicited Advice, brought to you by Toxic Bubblegum. I'm Bubblegum.
I'm Toxic.
And today we're talking about character quirks.
I'm so excited about our quote for the day.
Yeah, it wasn't spur of the moment or anything, or is extremely trolly.
Yeah, it's great. Are you ready? You ready for the quote?
I can't be any more ready than I already am.
Hodor!
Said Hodor.
So good!
Hodor said that.
Hodor said that. It's great. It's on my shirt. I'm wearing a Hodor shirt.
That's where we got the quote from.
They were talking about character quirks, and there is not a character quirkier than Hodor.
I mean, that's true. He's got shit going on. Everyone in Game of Thrones characters got shit going on.
Yeah.
As it turns out, we're accompanied today by Lady, who's running away, and Harley, who is pouting. So if you hear some pets, that's why, because they're always fucking here.
I'm gonna move the table just a little bit closer.
What?
So I can reach my drink.
Oh, no.
So character quirks. We're gonna start with just like memorable character quirks real fast, and then move on.
And then we'll figure out, we're sort of winging this as we
bit.
go. It's a chill episode. Listen.
I'm doing Nano. I'm like...
It's okay. I'm so sorry.
I'm like 16 hours into NaNoWriMo right now.
It's okay though, because you're getting cool birthday stuff this weekend.
I am.
It's gonna be exciting and fun, and then you can play Diablo on another platform.
Yes.
And everyone's gonna be having a good time. Except for Kat, because she'll still be doing NaNoWriMo.
I'll still be, yeah.
It's a sort of a trolley system.
It is. But my goal is to get ahead enough that I can take Saturday off.
Ooh. Good, you deserve it.
But anyway, character quirks.
So I'm thinking, Armstrong from Full Metal Alchemist. Yeah, he's a little bit quirky, as it turns out.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm doing this out of order. You had a definition also.
Oh, I did
do you
have
do
a definition.
That?
Yes, I
do you
did.
want to read your definition?
Do I dare to pull away from the voice recorder and hope that it won't, close? I see it in the corner. It should be fine. I've lost the definition. So a quirk is defined as a peculiar behavioral habit.
Yes. And it's important that you have quirks in your characters because they make your characters more three-dimensional and they make them stand out.
Right, and it's like, there's usually when you're thinking about a person, you have that one thing that you remember about them, and generally, that tends to be a quirk.
Sometimes your character only says Hodor, and sometimes the reason for that breaks your heart.
And sometimes you're sad.
Your audience cries for the next 2 years.
You've never gotten over it. You've never gotten
I'm not over it at all.
I'm sad.
But, anyway, I'm gonna close your ears.
Okay, I'm closing my ears.
Close your ears. So it is not technically a spoiler, but Haunting of Hill House, my dad was like, someone was like, I was holding the door and he looked over at me and he's like, Hodor? And I'm like, I'm fucking kill you, Dad. Okay, we're done. We're good.
What I miss? Was it spoilers for a show that I'm watching?
It was a little bit spoilers for a show that you're watching. I was talking about doors.
Doors?
Yeah.
Oh, doors.
Not the doors.
Hold them.
But holding them.
Hold the doors.
Yes.
Huh? What? I'm sad.
Me too.
So I have no idea what Kat just said, so I have to pretend like she didn't say anything.
Alright. That's fair. So, segueing in, there are good and bad ways to do character quirks, because if they're overpronounced, it's just going to be annoying, and if they're underpronounced, people aren't going to remember them enough. And with that being said, media segment, best character quirks.
I'm thinking, I already said this, I'm gonna say it again, I'm thinking Armstrong for Full Metal Alchemist.
What? That's the first time you've said that.
That's the first time I've said that. Anyway.
I'm so sorry.
No, I love Armstrong. He's so great. I always want to call him Lance Armstrong because, like, I always get my Armstrongs mixed up really bad. Not Lance Armstrong.
No.
But no, because he's got his thing where every single time he gets emotional, he starts flexing his muscles really intensely. He'll find random reasons to do it also, but, like, especially when he's really emotional, he'll start flexing his muscles, and he'll start sparkling, and the sparkles, like, can become physical, like, people will push them away, and it's amazing. And it's one of the things I always think about when I think about character quirks, because it's so well done, because he is such an over-the-top character. So when he does something like that, it's like, oh god, he's at it again. He's doing that thing. But also, the series is so well written that when it balances it out with, like, his normal, like, big, muscular, intimidating persona, and when he does have his serious moments, like, it still comes across as really effective.
Yeah.
I love Armstrong a lot.
That's good. It's a good pick.
You have one?
I do have one. It's Hodor. No.
What?
My Game of Thrones pick, though, Arya bites her lip.
And
I like that because it's a very simple one, but it's something that a lot of people do in real life. I do it, and it's just one of those examples of how having little quirks like that is something that you can, you know, like, if it's something you do, you're going to identify more with that character than you already do. Arya's great.
Arya is very great. I like her a lot. It's one of those things where it's like, it's a subtle enough thing that they, like, don't focus on it, but, like, if you go back and look for it, you'll see it
and
more.
It's good because it's, like, a nice little callback to the books, because it was kind of the same way. It wasn't, like, a big thing, but, like, when Arya's thinking about something in the books, she'll be biting her lip.
It's one of those things, like, I think especially in books, because a lot of the times in shows things can sort of go unnoticed, because there's so much content there, and so much other visual stuff to focus on. But, like, if you're reading something and you notice, like, when this particular thing happened, the line, like, where they're doing something always accompanies it, then it's like, this was real cool. It's like, it really sort of gives you a feel of, oh, that's part of their personality.
Yeah.
It's not, like, an accidental thing.
Right. It's good.
It's good. I like it. I'm trying to think. Do you have anyone else?
I have the best example, but it is spoilers again for you.
No,
so I'm not going to.
How could you do this to me?
I know. It's because I want to talk about Theo so bad. All the time.
I love Theo.
I'm a big Haunting of Hill House fan, you guys. Anyway.
But I'm only on the first episode, so can't.
So I can't talk about Theo's fun character quirks.
Sad.
But I will, since I'm looking for something, because those were just kind of things that they're fun character quirks that keep on throughout the story, throughout the character's arc, but I want an example of something that ties in a little bit more seriously, so I'm going to use Harry Potter instead.
What?
Harry Potter spoilers. And it's also good because we've talked about the last line of Harry Potter, and it ties in. Harry Potter rubs his scar when he gets nervous. And it's sort of like, because the lady's having a time.
She's running up and down the stairs in circles. And now she's over here, and she's jumped.
Okay.
Okay. Well, there's your lady interlude for the moment.
So yeah, and it's something, because Harry gets visions also, and, like, the scar will start hurting when he's in a dangerous situation, you know, and when he's thinking and stuff, sometimes he'll touch it, and it, like, all ties in together. But having little things that add up like that throughout the course of a series, because, as we've already talked about on the show, the last line of the Harry Potter series is his scar hadn't pained Harry for 19 years. So it was like it tied together, and that's a good example of how you can use character quirks for a deeper impact later on if you've established them well throughout the course of your story.
It's a weird thing, because, like, I feel like in the movies, it was almost a quirk that they didn't really press on. Really?
Yeah.
Like, they had it in the first movie.
In Sorcerer's
obviously.
Stone, it definitely is a quirk, because you can tell he kind of feels self-conscious about the scar, which is also good symbolism if you want to dig deep into the Harry Potter symbolism and stuff. Because one of Harry's biggest insecurities was fame that he didn't understand and didn't necessarily feel like he had earned. And that also ties back around to the scar, which is one of the reasons why he touches it when he feels uncomfortable, because it's the physical manifestation of those insecurities. But that aside, like, they kind of made a big point of it in the first movie, and then everyone kind of forgot. And it's something that you can still kind of pick up on a little bit, because there are plot points where the scar hurting is relevant, but it was definitely less of a factor outside of that.
It was used for the plot points, but it wasn't usually really used as a character quirk.
Right.
It was more used as a plot thing than an actual quirk. Oh, my cat. I think the next one I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my roots. In Death Note, Elle only eats sweets, which is like the... Lady doesn't like that I'm talking about Death Note. But that's like one of his many things. He's a very quirky person, because almost his entire personality is based around quirks. Because he always sits with his knees up to his chest. He only eats sweets. At least we only ever see him doing that when he's doing detective work. And he's just sort of a weird dude. Like, that's sort of his whole thing, is he's very weird, but very good at what he does. So it's one of those things where it's just like the L sitting position is like, if you walk into a room and somebody's doing that, you're like, oh no, that's an anime nerd over there. Oh god. Oh jeez. Oh no. And like, you can't say that about everyone, but you can tell what it is, though.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's also something to be said, because Elle's a character who is, like you said, very quirk-oriented. There's always that one character in a franchise that is more quirk-oriented than just about anyone else. Hodor has his whole Pokemon thing going on, where he's like, where he can only say his own name.
Hodor!
They actually start, his name is, not Hodor. Actually, it's, I was gonna say, it's...
Oh no, cat! She broke.
Anyway, I don't...
We'll never know.
We'll never know, because I can't say it without laughing. Anyway, but they start calling him Hodor because that's the only thing he can say.
Right.
He has what everyone thinks is a stroke as a child, and then he can only say Hodor, and so people start calling him Hodor. And it's just like, so he's like a very quirk-based character, which is why we used him for the quote in the beginning. But there's one in just about everything. Harry Potter, we've got Luna Lovegood.
Yeah, she's very much all the quirks all the time.
I'm
pretty much any character that's like the eccentric type. I remember there's this one, there's this movie called Rat Race, and it's like some fucking 90s movie, but there's one character in it, and his thing is that he has narcolepsy. He's like the quirk character, and his big one is that he has narcolepsy. So they'll be in the middle of this really important scene, and he'll just fall asleep. And it's like, I don't remember much about that movie, except for the Barbie Museum, and that guy had narcolepsy, like, at the worst times.
Yeah.
So
that's good, and it's also something... Oh god, I got so sidetracked for a second in my mind.
It happens all the time.
My brain is frazzled.
It's NaNoWriMo.
It's something that's really good, because in real life there are people who are like that, and you get to see it sort of as like, it's almost sort of a storytelling trope at this point, that you have the one really eccentric character, but it's something that you see in real life, and here's like my weirdest example
here
for
we
the
go.
day. Are you ready? I'm gonna talk about Shark Tank.
Ooh, Shark Tank.
As my autocorrect, and this is a true story, because I was telling someone that I was watching Shark Tank on my phone. My autocorrect thinks that it's
oh no!
It thinks that it's Shank Tank.
Shank Tank!
It's like,
oh no!
the funniest thing I've ever seen.
This is a much darker version. If you don't get your idea picked, you die.
My autocorrect has been going really crazy lately. My phone is going out, I think.
That's fair.
Yeah, but Shark Tank, you get to see there are like a lot of very serious entrepreneurs. There are a lot of people who don't know what they're doing, and then there's this one guy who comes in who's just like the best dude. He's an inventor. I don't know if this is true. This is what he says on the episode. Don't fact check me for this guy.
Don't at me about this guy from Shark Tank.
But he says he allegedly is the inventor of the artificial heart or the LVAD device.
Mm-hmm.
And he comes in, he's got you can tell right away that he's like a very interesting individual. But he comes in and he says that he can invent a device that will pick up a cubic mile of ocean water and spin it real fast to generate energy, and that the waste product for this is gold. It's like,
oh, what?
Yeah, it was just like, and he explains the science behind it in just like such an interesting way. But he comes in and he's got the frizzled hair, and he's just like, he's the epitome of like an eccentric character, except for he's a real person who went on a Shark Tank.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
It's good.
I'm so glad such beauty exists in our world.
So there are, and you know what, every now and then, because there's Spielberg. My eccentric pick of the day.
You didn't remember his name!
No, I'm not Steven Spielberg. No, because I was just gonna talk about Shark Tank more. We have to stop. But there was also, because sometimes the really eccentric, like, the really, like, fun, wacky guys get funded. There's the I want to draw a cat for you guy who got his business funded, and like within 2 years he had enough money to retire.
Oh my god, I mean...
But he comes in and he does a dance and sings a song about wanting to draw cats for people, and then they like funded him, and now he's like super rich.
Is that...
And it's like, that's not a normal thing.
That's not usually how I picture Shark Tank.
Especially with the, like, I wish this were a visual format, because he does this thing with his shoulders while he's dancing, and it's so good.
Let's see if I can find a picture of him for the thumbnail.
Please do.
Oh god, that's so good.
But these people exist in real life, and it's one of those, like, sometimes storytelling tropes do originate from real world examples.
Right, because I think everyone does have a quirk of some kind. I mean, I've been watching, like, a lot of I've been found Gordon Ramsay on fucking YouTube, so I've been watching a shit ton of, I watched, like, Hell's Kitchen, and the other things he does, Kitchen Nightmares, Hotel Hell. I've just been watching a bunch of them because I have time. One of his quirks is every time he asks to talk to somebody, he's always like, "Do you have 2 seconds?"
Yeah.
He always says it every single time, and it's like, oh my god, I never noticed it until I was like, how often does he say that? And the answer is all the time.
Yeah, so that's a good, because this is something that spawns, that's a good tip for you guys if you're wanting to introduce character quirks. You can take inspiration from real life things. Because you never know what, like, weird things you do or other people do that you've noticed are going to be relatable to audiences. And that's a good segue into, you wanted to talk about pets.
I did want to talk about pets for real life examples.
Yeah.
I find it's easier to point out your personality quirks if you take a look at your pets, because pets don't have simple personalities, but they don't take offense to you pointing out that they're weird, because they're so fucking weird. Like Harley's thing. Harley does a lot of things, but one of his things is whenever I come home, he gets really excited, and when he gets really excited, he rubs his face all over the couch. He'll walk back and forth and just rub his face on the couch until I come over and say hello to him. And it's adorable. I don't know why he does it. And I think that's the thing about quirks, is you don't know why someone does it, like, a lot of the time. It just sort of is a thing that they do.
Yeah.
If you press Lady's head, she merps at you.
So the takeaway from this is next time you need a character quirk, your character goes to the couch, rubs their
face on it until someone comes up and says hello to them. Is that not a good character quirk?
That's a great character quirk.
Put that in
Creepypasta time.
Oh no, that's Franz's character quirk.
Oh my god, what if I chose like a random NPC?
One of the random furry NPCs?
It's Blurber. Actually.
Blurber! Guys, listen to Adventures. Cat's writing a book about it.
Yeah, it's going great, guys. Not tired at all.
Of course not. But yeah, like, that's what it took me, like, a long fucking time to figure out, like, my own quirk. Because I was like, what's, like, a thing that, like, I do? Because, like, it's really hard to, like, look inside and try to figure that out. I can't spell. That's one of my things that I think consistently comes up. Is, like, someone will ask me how to spell something, or I'll be typing something, and I'll just stare for a second, because I do not know how to spell anything. I'm so bad at spelling. This is why I'm an artist. It's really bad, guys. You have no idea.
Oh no.
Making thumbnails is a struggle. Because I have to type things, and it's bad.
Oh no.
Oh.
One of my things is I bite my lip. I talked about that with the Arya thing. Another one of my big things is I'll play with my lip ring. Sometimes I like fidgeting with piercings, and it's one of the big reasons why I don't have my ears pierced anymore. Because I would play with them too much, and I'm very sensitive to infections, and I was like, so that was bad for me. And I still go to play with them all the time, and they're not there anymore.
And it's like, what? This is wrong. There's nothing here.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's another thing about character quirks, is if someone has also done something for a long time, if that source of stimulation is suddenly removed, then you'll still notice someone, like, going to do something even if they can't complete the task.
Right.
And that's just sort of a...
And it's because you don't really realize that you're doing it anymore. And I think that's also something, if you have a little weird thing that you do, putting it into fiction is one of the best things that you can do. Not only because it takes a certain level of self-realization about your own habits to be able to do that, but also because it will make your readers, like, they'll identify with it. Because if it's, like, a weird thing and you're like, I'm the only person I know who does this, there's probably someone else out there who's like, I'm the only person I know who does this. And then when they read it,
they'll be like, wait, that's me!
And it's not, and
then they sue you.
And then they sue you. It's something I can't think of, like, any good examples of at this particular moment, but it's something I see a lot in creepypastas. Like, characters will have quirks that are, like, really, really specific.
Right.
And, if it's something you can't relate to, you'll be like, what? But there's that level of realism still that drags you into it, even though...
You can still be like, I could see somebody doing that.
Yeah.
I think one of the more common things that people have as a quirk is, like, talking with your hands. So it sort of defeats it doesn't go on the peculiar thing, but it is, like, a thing that a lot of people do. I'm doing it right now. And that's one often you kind of see picked up as a behavior from, like, parents and stuff. Because my dad also talks with his hands.
Yeah.
I don't remember if my mom talks with her hands, but I know my dad does because he'll do it even when he's driving. He won't be talking out loud, but he will be, like, he'll, like, move his hands, and I'll be like, what you doing, Dad? And he'll be like, oh, I was thinking, and I was like, okay, Dad. But yeah.
Oh, we're past the media example, but I have one more.
Do it.
Can I throw in a last minute media example?
We'll round it off.
Okay. I want to talk about Marshall Erickson.
Oh.
Because he has a character quirk that is... You said your dad, and I was thinking about my dad. My dad shares a character quirk with Marshall Erickson.
Oh, yeah?
In that he'll sing nonsense all the time. And a really good example of... Because a lot of people do that. It's like a fairly popular thing.
Right,
You just like you like narrate what you're doing a little bit in song, or
right.
like you just like hum nonsense tunes or make up words or whatever.
Right.
And it's something that's really good because chances are you know someone who does that if you don't do it.
Yeah.
And it also it's a good example because it ties in. They have an episode where they kind of talk about everyone's annoying habits, and everyone is so it's really on point for today's topic because the whole episode kind of goes through everyone's most annoying quirk, and the idea is like you hear the glass shattering when everyone realizes because quirks are something you cannot notice for years and years and years, and then when you notice it you can't unnotice it.
Right, you can't stop.
Which was like one of the points of the episode, and it was they were talking about the whole thing that brought up the conversation was Marshall had just taken the bar exam and he had to check his results online because they wouldn't be sent out in the mail for like 3 weeks or whatever. But he can check his results online and they're supposed to be going up and he can't find his password. And he's getting like really on edge and everyone's, you know, getting on edge, so they're all like pointing out each other's habits and it's like a bad time. And then they point out Marshall's, which is that he sings things, and someone starts and they're like apple orchard, and everyone in the group joins in and they're like banana 8663, and because like apparently he'd been singing it enough that they all knew like this random nonsense tune, but then his password was AO. You know, it was like he had been singing it to remember this password, and it was like the one time he had a reason to be, you know. It was like AOCD 8663, and it was like, so he ended up remembering his password like at the last minute, but it was just like, it was like a fun thing. And if you look at any sitcoms are like a great way to brainstorm character quirks.
Yeah, because one of the things about specifically sitcoms is like, because you want people to tune in and be able to immediately recognize a character based on something they're doing. Because I'm trying to think. So I'm trying to think like in Frasier, like one of like it's the fact that like they're always like they'll be like called out for being too pretentious, but they'll take it really seriously because someone will like say something about like a wine to make fun of them, and then they'll be really serious about the wine, and it's like, oh, Jesus Christ, guys.
It's good. And it's something that's really interesting too, because you can see if you we just had Halloween yesterday, and it's character quirks are so fun because for imitation or costumes, if you can pinpoint and mimic a character's quirks, you can go as just about anyone.
Right.
Like you can. There was a thread, I was just like looking at Good Place cosplays the other day, and you know, some of them are like a little bit more obvious because you know. There was, like, an Eleanor with, like, the best person sash, and it's, like, obviously that's Eleanor Shellstrop, and then, like, if you get a big enough group together, because there was, like, a good Janet, a bad Janet, and a Derek, and it's, like, that's a group, you can figure out who they are, but, like, it was really amazing, and the one that got me, there were, like, a bunch of people who went as Jason, and it was, like, it was so good, because you look at them and you're like, holy fuck, that's Jason, even though it's just someone wearing, like, a tracksuit or whatever.
Right.
And it's, like, good, and it's something that you notice a lot if you watch a lot of satirical anything. Saturday Night Live is a really good example because they find a character quirk and they go above and beyond with it for like sketch comedy,
right?
Like
course.
You do,
because that's what you got to do. Is because by capitalizing on that quirk, it makes, especially when you're doing a parody, it makes it obvious what you're parodying.
Yeah.
Like, so that could be like the way a person talks or the way a person moves or like. Just about anything someone does, you can make it obvious who you're doing. But not like that.
But not like that.
But not like that.
Episode title. It's also something that you can do. We've talked a lot with like the sitcoms and parodies about the visual format, but it's also something that you can do. in an audio format really well. And a good example of this, I'm going to use Rick and Morty.
What?
Because Justin Roiland is like 80% of the voices for that show, and they're all different. And even he's got a very distinctive voice.
Right.
Is the thing, you know. So even though it's versatile, you can pretty much tell that it's all him. But because of the different speech patterns and like you can really tell. You don't have to watch Rick and Morty to hear the differences in the voice. You could just, like, listen to it like a podcast. You'd be confused, but you could do it, and you could hear all the different voices.
Right. You know it's the same person, but with enough audible ticks, you can pinpoint exactly who that character is.
Right.
I feel like Night Vale has a lot of those, because Night Vale is a very quirky fucking podcast. So it's like, one of the things that, like, Cecil does is he always calls Carlos perfect up till a certain point, because that's, like, a plot point. Like, everyone has, like, they'll be defined, like, the
old woman Josie, or
the old woman who secretly lives in your house.
Yeah. Oh god. I had a good one, but I can't think of his name.
Hiram McDaniels. An actual five-headed dragon.
Literally a five-headed dragon. What's his name? The farmer.
Oh!
John Peters?
John Peters.
The farmer.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, it's always followed by, the farmer.
And it's like, even though they're just, like, names for the characters, it's sorta... It tells you enough about their personalities that if you saw that particular aspect in a representation of a Night Vale character, you'd be like, oh, that's this person.
Yeah.
Like...
Night Vale is a really good example, not only because it's very quirky to listen to, but because there is such a strong headcanon game in the Welcome to Night Vale fandom.
Right.
You can, and this is true, you can wear, like, a collared shirt and a headset to any convention, and people will know that you're Cecil.
Right.
People will know. I've done some of the laziest cosplaying of my life going as Cecil, and it's like, you can get really into it, which I've also done for Cecil, because Cecil cosplaying is, like, my favorite pastime.
Right, you have, like, the Night Vale shoes, and, like, the painted headset, and, like, everything.
I did get really into it, but my first couple Cecil cosplays were not that. They were just like, they were literally like a collared shirt and a headset, and I'm like, I'm Cecil, and everyone knew.
Right, you just know. That's why it's like, it's also like,
there's like no established canon for what Cecil looks like, but people will recognize you if you go into a convention, and it's great.
It's like, you can do, oh, Papa, move your butt! Yeah, Harley is being a dog. Over here, I think we're gonna switch spots real fast.
Okay.
It's like one of the things where it's like, because the headcanon game is so strong in Night Vale, usually one of the things people look for is color in it. Like, so, if you wear a lab coat and like a purple shirt, people are gonna know that you're Carlos.
Right.
Like, that's just how it is. Or if you're doing the same collared shirt and headset, but you're doing it in yellow, people are gonna assume you're Kevin.
Right.
And it's like... I think character quirks come through a lot more in, like, audio mediums, because they sort of have to.
Yeah. Because
you don't have the visual aid to it.
Really good example of audio character quirks. Mr. Creepypasta is one of the most fantastic narrators on the internet. He's absolutely amazing. And if you pick any, like, long-going series that he has up on his channel, the one that I want to talk about, because the book was just released yesterday, is Tales from the Gas Station. But he does, like, because it's just Mr. Creepypasta for a lot of them, so he does, like, a lot of the character voices himself, and eventually, like, later down in the series, they did some casting stuff, but, like, because it's Jack recounting things, so, Mr. Creepypasta does Jack's voice, but then he does, like, when someone talks to Jack and Jack's recounting it, he does, like, different voices for the different people.
Right.
And it's, and you can tell, you know, because he's really good at doing voices and quirks and stuff, and like, and it's even good like from series to series, you know, because like there's a big difference in his voice if you listen to Tales from the Gas Station as opposed to I'm a Search and Rescue Officer. There's such a big, because the tone of the two things is very different, and he does a good job just casually capturing the tone of something in his voice.
He's gotten very good because as part of his living, he has to be really good at it.
Yeah.
There's a reason he's as big as he is, and that's because he really dedicates himself to, you know, telling the stories like a radio play, almost.
Right.
It's like, I don't know how much he uses, like, the sound effects and stuff. I know, I have seen a couple of his things where he's used them, like, a lot. I know Creeps McPasta does it.
Yeah. Mr. Creepypasta, he usually only does the sound effect. Like, he has, he works with Yuji, so that he has, like, the custom soundtracks that kind of go in the back of the stuff. But he doesn't use sound effects a lot. When he does, it's effective, though, because there's that one, like, I don't get squeamish easily, or scared or uncomfortable easily. He did that one unsettling story narration about the cam girl. And there was, like, the crunching sound effect, and it, like, I was, like, squirming in my seat. It's like, I hate this. I don't like listening to
it was
this.
already so bad, like, reading it, that just, like, the actual audio of it was,
He always does sound effects for unsettling stories.
Well, of course you gotta. It's because he's an asshole. That's why.
That's why. I love how the story we like with a bunch of praise for Mr. Creepypasta and it landed on he's an asshole.
Listen, that's just how people are. That's just how things are.
But yeah, audio formats are.
But yeah,
works.
It's very fun. I'm really glad that audio media has sort of expanded in recent years. Like, it's really sort of been embraced more casually. Because I think a big deal is because podcasts have become such a big thing. And so, you know, bingo bango, everyone's listening to a podcast these days.
Yeah.
I should listen to podcasts more.
You should listen to podcasts.
I should. I sort of listened to my podcast and then stopped.
I should listen to podcasts more. Because I always start them and then I listen to creepypasta narrations instead.
Sometimes that's how it is.
That's where my audio attention goes.
Yeah,
it's just to creepypasta narrations all the time.
I just keep switching them. I just keep getting recommended Gordon Ramsay. And I'm just like, oh, because Gordon Ramsay's here.
That's never a bad choice.
It's never a bad choice. He's got a very distinct voice. Let's go with that one.
That's true. Here's what I want is for Gordon Ramsay to narrate creepypasta.
I want him to read them, but, like, react to them also.
I would like him to, like, read crappy pastas and react to them.
Oh my god.
That would be great.
What
the fuck is wrong with you, who was phone?
Like, what do you think this is? Can't even spell correctly? You can't even write a full sentence! But who was
phone?
Oh. Listen,
if anyone with my sweaty, that can't be right.
I want, if someone can get me a recording of Gordon Ramsay reading Who Was Phone, I don't know what I would do. I would be so happy. It would be the best.
Our hero.
You got a week until my birthday. Get it together.
Who does a really good Gordon Ramsay impression for like unrelated reasons?
Who out of our 6 people listening to this can do a really good Gordon Ramsay? We're counting on you. But yeah, so that's sort of. How did we fucking get on this?
I don't know. I talking about creepypasta so bad. Okay, so other character quirks. I wanted to talk about Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes, we have the
thing. We have a character habits sheet that we want to go through specifically for quirks, but we have a character.
Should be the beginning of this here in the. I have my thing like all labeled because like
So
I
you
get
can
very upset about it.
Yeah, it's like right here.
Oh, nice.
It's something that like you as a player transfer a lot of your when you're doing a tabletop game, you transfer a lot of your own personal quirks and patterns into your character because it's something that you're improvising in real time, and a lot of that is going to be you.
Right.
It's something if you're a dedicated or experienced or just like fun player, you will also develop quirks for your character specifically. Right. Alan's really good to play tabletop games with because he does like voices and he gets excited and he stays in character pretty well.
My current thing in our Dungeons and Dragons campaign, I won't give anything away for adventures we're doing right now because that doesn't have a whole lot of character quirks. But in my campaign right now, I'm playing.
Whoa! Thresh
what?
Carries around
a board
magazine.
Hold on.
Like
he left that in the hotel room. Wherever they are. He's got standards. Probably.
Alright.
This is a great thing. But in our D&D campaign, I like coin character quirks more.
Okay.
So one of the things that... so I'm playing a tiefling warlock who is ex-con man. Not trying to go straight, just doing something different. But so one of the things is when someone starts rambling in the party, particularly our bard, who that's like one of his quirks is he just starts talking and doesn't know how to stop. So one of the things that'll like snap my fingers and be like, you gotta come back, you gotta come back until he finishes, and it's good. They're boyfriends.
It's very nice. They've finally gotten together. It's been pretty cute.
I
say finally. I've been in the campaign for like 4 sessions.
I was finally.
But I came in with the impression that it had been building.
I mean, in all fairness, our sessions are like 6 hours.
Yeah.
So like.
But one thing that I really like about 5th Ed Dungeons and Dragons that I liked a lot more than 4th Ed Dungeons and Dragons. Maybe the only thing.
Not the spells,
really
that's for sure.
4th Ed. But one thing is that for players who don't get as into character building for themselves, they have an inspiration section in your background. And the one that I want to... There are like a bunch of examples where basically you pick a background and you get like certain extra things for that. But you can take it a step further and you can do personality things. And there are a lot of examples for backgrounds. There's the acolyte, charlatan, entertainer, etc. But the one that I want to use as an example because it's the funniest is criminal.
Isn't that the one you have?
It's the one that I have, and I did a lot of my own character quirks and stuff myself just to tie into my backstory. But the character that I had before this, she was not.
Not quite.
She was different. She was very different from the character I have now. And I use the criminal inspiration traits for her. But the thing is, like, you roll a d8 or a d6 in one case to just kind of determine what personality traits your character has. And it's something that 4th Ed didn't really get into a lot, was having that kind of strong encouragement. But like they have tables in there, and you can choose like a specialty. Specialty. I can't talk today. My brain is frazzled. You can talk. You can take a specialty, and you've got your list of 8 things. So you can be like a blacksmith, a burglar, an enforcer, a fence, a highway robber, a hired killer, a pickpocket, or a smuggler. And you roll a d8, and that's picked for you.
Right.
And like you can incorporate that in your backstory if it's something that you don't already want to do. It's like not a strictly enforced.
Right.
Like rolling the rest of your stats is.
Right. It's sort of a thing where you can take it and be like, okay, I can work with this.
Yeah.
You can kind of mold it a little more to what you're trying to accomplish as the character.
And for each background, they have your specialties, they have suggested characteristics with a personality trait, an ideal, a bond, and a flaw. So those are all things that the 5th Ed character creation will sort of help you with if you don't want to or are having trouble doing it yourself. Or just my first and second 5th ed character, I used it just because I thought it was fun that they
Right.
had the feature.
Like, why not use it if it's there?
And it was like, you know what? I'm gonna commit to whatever this is that I roll. And my last character, everyone in the campaign did not like me.
Oh, no.
Because I ended up getting like all of the love related things in my roles. So she was like very aggressively sexual all the time. And it was like, this is...
See, but...
This is my like, I lost my true love, he died, I'm sad, I'm gonna screw everybody. Like, that was like very aggressively, because those were like all of the traits that I rolled for her, and I was constantly like talking up NPCs, which is also something Vera does, but bad.
But badly. Not quite the charisma.
It's not as good.
It's one of the things, it's so funny because as it turns out, Despair would have fit in really well.
Yeah.
To the party we have right now.
Despair would be so much more helpful right now than Vera is, honestly.
It's so funny because that's our entire campaign, pretty much, is a bunch of us are just being really fucking gay all the time and being like, can I screw this NPC? Can I screw this NPC? We're in the tavern, is there anyone I can screw? It's like, oh god, we have our priorities set, don't we?
Yeah. We're great.
We're great.
Some of Vera's character quirks, for the character I'm playing right now, she is pretending to be an evocation wizard.
She's doing very well.
And I've gotten very into it to the extent I've taken, she's a necromancer, but necromancy is illegal, so she's pretending very hard to be an evocation wizard, and as a player, I've been making decisions like that. All of the spells I have that aren't necromancy spells are evocation spells, even though they wouldn't have to be, but it's because Vera really plays up every time she evokes something,
right,
to establish herself as an evocation wizard. I've also taken, there's an aura spell that you can take every day where you can change the aura of something, and Vera has been casting it on herself every day so that she has the aura of an evocation wizard.
You have like 20 more days and then you don't have to cast it anymore.
Yeah. 18 days. If I can cast it 18 more times, I never have to cast it again, and I will permanently have the aura of an evocation wizard.
If we survive for 18 more days, that's the fun idea.
But it's fun. It's something that it's fun to get into. And the adventure system, we're always talking about playing adventures. The adventure system is fun because when you start out, you get a personality perk that plays into how you play the character.
So, like for Franza, I had the hedonistic perk. So, Franza had to do something selfish every day, or else I would lose my buff. So that I got from the perk. Which was fun to evolve into, because their whole character arc was sort of overcoming the hedonistic thing of having to do selfish things.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
It was good.
It's good. Radley was a secret agent man.
Yeah. Radley was a double secret agent man.
Double secret agent man.
Because I can't follow rules.
Does anyone in our party follow rules?
No.
No!
That's never happened.
That's never happened.
Belthor took the kleptomania perk.
Yeah.
It was fun when we started because we're playing Soulbound right now. It was a lot of fun when we started because two of us had
Live for the thrill. You still do.
That's true. The personality arcs are something that you can kind of learn to live with as you get through the campaign.
Right.
So we still both have Live for the Thrill. We do it less.
Right.
It was really bad because there was the one puzzle, quote unquote puzzle, and it was like the first or second session that I played in Soulbound, and there was like a bridge. There's like this shady looking bridge, and the whole puzzle was just that we had to go over like one at a time carefully.
Yeah.
But like two of us had Live for the Thrill, and one of us crit failed the intelligence check. So like three of us immediately rushed onto this one person bridge.
Oh, it's bad. I took it easy on the personality quirk this time because Thrash is a vegetarian is his thing, and it's like. He's a rabbit. Obviously, he's a vegetarian. I hope to God.
That checks out.
But, yeah, oh, God. That's one of the things that I feel like happens in the adventure system a lot, is sort of your nat ones sort of play into your character personality.
Oh, yeah. You can...
It's goddamn.
And if you're someone who is pretty conscientious about playing a consistent character or attempting to play a consistent character, when you fail at stuff really does sort of define the character later on. I'm doing the Adventures adaptation right now, and one thing is Radley, I gave her pyrokinesis. I gave her, like, so when she gets stressed, she catches stuff on fire. And it wasn't like, that's not a feature of the game. It was just, I rolled enough nat ones, I caught enough stuff on fire through nat ones,
It was,
that was something that I incorporated into her character for the adaptation.
it was really beautiful, as it turns out. There's also times when, if you can give yourself, like, a huge break, using nat ones, and make up, like, a joke quirk. So I was playing Thrash, and I crit failed on my intimidation, so instead of being intimidating, he was just like, hello? Which is not what you expect from a 6-foot-tall, ripped bunny man. And he was thusly horrified by himself.
It is, however, Franz's first line of the book.
Hello?
We all expect that from Franz.
I mean, that's... people get to that thing to close the book and leave. You can install a hello extension on Tumblr. That changes all the text
I hate that.
to that. I want to get it so bad, but I use Tumblr Mobile!
Oh, no.
So, yeah.
Bad. Thrash's demon form is here.
Yeah, Thrash's demon form is here. Sorry! Oh, it's so good. So yeah, when you put quirks in a thing, it doesn't always have to be, like, super serious. You can, like, have something, like, if it happens consistently enough, it can just be, your quirk can basically be a reoccurring joke.
Yeah.
Basically, is how it will shake out.
Right.
And it's good. It's real fucking good.
Really nice. It's something that I used to have, like, when I was playing, back in middle school.
Ooh!
When Vampire the Masquerade was cool.
Oh, God.
In my Masquerade days. I don't think Vampire the Masquerade was cool when I was in middle school. Just as, like, a disclaimer, I think I'm too young to have been playing tabletop games when Masquerade was cool.
That's fair.
For that brief window that was a thing.
For that brief window.
But that brief delayed window where I thought Vampire the Masquerade was cool, and I was in, like, 3 Masquerade campaigns. So the thing about Masquerade is that it has a merits and flaws system.
Right.
And what I know now, what I learned in my second Masquerade campaign, but did not know at the time, was that you can have so many points of merits as long as they're outweighed by that same amount of points of flaws.
Mm-hmm.
The way that my storyteller, the way that my ST explained it to me...
Oh, that sounds so much worse.
I hate that.
That's so terrible.
The way that it was explained to me by the person running the campaign was that I could have as many merit points as I wanted as long as they were balanced out by flaws. So my first Vampire the Masquerade character, I took everything.
No.
I'm taking all of these.
Oh, no.
And it was, she was actually, it ended up kind of working out because she got possessed. So she was like one person, but she was possessed by, like, a bunch of other people.
Oh, no.
And the way that it worked, so, like, they all took turns having flaws and merits.
Well, there you go.
But my first character was, like, a mess, because she just took, like, everything.
Oh, no.
It was like, I want all these perks, and it's worth all these flaws. Because I was, like, a dumb kid, and I thought it would be funny. And my storyteller never corrected me.
God. Good learning experience.
She didn't know better either, and it was like, this is a choice that you made.
You have to deal with it. It's like more like you have to deal with it.
But the merits and flaws system is a lot of fun. In terms of like character quirks, Masquerade actually does have one of my favorite systems for figuring that stuff out, because it's kind of like the writing rule for characters, where you can have so many good qualities, and like as long as they're balanced out by bad qualities.
Right.
And it's like the Masquerade system really encourages that. And some of them are like big power things, you know, like you can do extra powerful vampire magic or whatever. I don't remember Masquerade well enough to be talking about this. But some of them are like really, they're like more basic personality traits, you know, like you sleep late.
Right.
Or it's me.
That's true. That is you.
That's just me. I'm Vampire the Masquerade.
Wait, hold on. Reel it back. What?
Huh?
You got some explaining to do on that one, as it turns out.
I am Vampire the Masquerade.
Okay.
I'm a La Sombra.
Oh.
That's a
That's
thing.
nice. Good on you.
It means shadow person.
Oh.
It doesn't.
No.
It just means shadow.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
This has been your foreign language class.
Oh no. I feel so awkward. I don't know anything.
That's a fun background quirk, or like a fun. That's one of my most annoying habits. And it's
that you're Vampire the Masquerade.
Vampire the Masquerade. That's one of those things, because sometimes you can like see a quirk or hear a quirk or know someone with a quirk, and you can be like, that's really annoying, and then like years later you realize why they've done it, and you're that annoying person.
That's
me.
annoying.
Because it's one of the, it's fine. People don't need to like me on this podcast.
Wait.
They already don't.
Hold on. Go back. Reel it back in. Oh, no.
I'm gonna be an emo now because I'm Vampire the Masquerade.
No. You're punk on the inside.
Punk on the inside. Yeah.
Couldn't find that quote. Find it.
I know the video. We can watch the video.
Oh.
Because it's the Travis Explains His Tattoos video.
Oh.
And then Mark is like, I don't need tattoos. And he goes on like a rant.
Oh my god, he would.
Anyway. No, but it's one of those things, because this is a habit that I have that I'm aware is very annoying, and then I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to be a real devil's advocate for myself.
Devil's advocate about yourself.
Because it's, like, people who work foreign words into everyday conversation, and it's one of those things, it's super annoying. But as someone who studies language, it's so hard to find organic ways to study your language.
Yeah.
So it's like, if you can work it in, you have to keep that practice going.
It's an
like,
obligation.
It's so hard. It's just that, like, it's one thing, you know, like, if you learn a language abroad or whatever, you're the idiot, and, like, you have to study all the time, but, like, if you don't, and it's one thing, I've been really bad about it lately with High Valyrian, but there's, like, no way to organically practice High Valyrian.
It's true.
And it's like, with French and German, at least I can, like, go read French and German books, but, like, when you're studying a fictional foreign language, and you realize that you know how to say something in that fictional foreign language, you have to say it, because that's all the practice that you're gonna get for the day.
You're not getting anything else.
That's like, so that's a thing. And it's also, it goes, I think foreign language goes hand in hand with being pretentious.
Yes,
and it's something they make fun of Ted Mosby for a lot, because he likes to recite things in the original Italian.
Oh my
and
God.
it's like, I'm that person, because I learn things in their original language, but then there's like, you don't practice it, and then you don't remember it in that one occasion where you need to know it. So it's like, and it's something I'm really bad about, like with French, especially because,
you say
like,
a lot of things in French.
I say a lot of things in French, and it's like French cinema. I get so pretentious about French horror movies, which is such a weird thing to get pretentious
It's so
about.
very specific.
It's a weird combination of my personality quirks, like, manifesting and making me into a monster.
That's why Kat's the star of the next French horror film.
climax, and I wasn't, and I'm sad because it was a French horror musical, and there's literally never been anything more up my alley than that. Check out Climax, guys. Anyway.
How you doing over there?
No, but it was like the first time I ever said it's better if you watch it in the original French. I hated myself for like 2 days. Like, I went to bed, and it's like, I hate that I've become this person.
I hate that I'm this.
But it was about martyrs, and I've said it several hundred times since then. Because that's what studying does to you. It makes you terrible and pretentious. Don't study anything.
Don't go to college.
Don't learn.
Don't learn anything. Don't do things.
So that's like one of my worst traits. And I'm aware of it. I know I'm annoying.
Okay.
Fuck you, guys.
Oh, Cat, nobody said anything.
No, I know how it is.
It's just me.
That's how life goes.
I can't say you're
so
wrong.
sometimes, like, you can justify, it doesn't make it less annoying, but you can justify annoying traits. Except for Ted Mosby. That's annoying.
That's true. Sometimes people are just bad. Sometimes people have quirks that are just terrible. And not, like, annoying terrible, but, like, actually really terrible.
Yeah.
You'll see a lot of that. That's, like, a thing in sitcoms. We talked about that. Usually, like, the antagonist in a sitcom will have a really annoying quirk, or their quirk will just be being a terrible person.
Yeah.
Like...
And that's not a quirk, that's just mean.
Yeah. That's just a bad life to live, as it turns out. Will Wheaton?
Yeah.
His biggest sin is being Will Wheaton. Like, consistently.
All the time.
In everything.
That's true.
God damn it, Will Wheaton.
But there was also that time that he was in the guild and he was a furry.
That's true. Oh. It's a terrible person. That's a sin. Oh, no. Oh, no, furries.
Is being a furry a character quirk?
It's more like a fatal flaw, I think. Speaking as a furry, I'm the target of assassination. Now.
Oh no.
Yeah. This is how I'm breaking it to
killed
you.
Alan. You're a what?
I died, guys. I've come back for my second life. That's maybe not a furry. But we can't know that until I live my life.
Yep. Do you remember Second Life?
I do remember Second Life.
Do you remember that thing where you could just be yourself, but a furry?
Yes. You could be a blimp, also.
You could be a blimp.
You could be a blimp.
There were no limits.
There are no limits in Second Life. Except for joining people's servers and fucking around. That was apparently a pretty bad thing that you could do.
Yeah.
Ben was in a class where he had to be in Second Life.
That was my high school experience.
Oh, that's right!
We had a Second Life server in my high school, because I went to school online.
Oh, so bad.
I was myself, but I was a fart. No.
I can only imagine if fucking I walked into my art university and they were like, okay, everyone get on the Second Life server, it's time for class, and I'd be like, no, I won't.
That was like my favorite thing about high school, though, was virtually ditching my class. The point, because I mean, like, you're in a server, you want to go do other shit.
Right.
That's
You
correct.
can go to an abandoned amusement park.
You can fly to an abandoned amusement park.
You can go to a virtual strip club.
Because you're just yourself, but you're a flying furry.
Oh no, you're a squirrel. Oh no.
I was a squirrel in high school. My most annoying character quirk. I was our high school squirrel.
Oh no, Cat.
I wasn't.
Harley's here to police you.
Harley, oh god, he's so wet.
I know he's a wet boy.
Oh no.
Fuck.
Okay.